Hi everyone, my name is Tris and this is Double O'Neill. Let's have a look at what we're up to. So this is the layout as you saw it last time. We have our loop, which is more of like a kind of smaller radius, larger radius there. This is what we name for this shape. Then you have the, what we're going to call like the fiddle yard. Nothing too exciting, but I'd like to do a bit more with it, but we'll see. It's the ingle nook layout bit, so we can have some fun there. Little shed for the tiny little 08s, and then just deciding to drop off some wagons or somewhere to store some coaches if we don't want to use this. The bit that I'd like to look at a bit more is, I talked to you on the, I think the previous video, where I turn the power up towards half and the loco just kind of rockets off. So you can hear the buzz. I turn it up more. And so it's towards half now, so it is getting better. I've done, I don't know, it's done towards 3 hours running. So there's something going on inside it. Like, it's not like the coaches are draggy, it just doesn't want to get going. So what I wanted to try was a different controller. And I've got one that I built, I don't know, 2 years ago now. So my father, who's absolutely brilliant, gave me the internals, which are for a comp speed, which compensates for when you have a high amount of current needed to get something going, but you know, you don't have to whack the voltage up to get there. So your loco runs at the same speed. Because of this tighter radius, it also struggles a little bit tighter radius, and then it goes off like a rocket. Inside, there's lots of fun stuff. I haven't looked in here for a while. What's in here? So you've got a transformer inside here to convert our power, and then obviously we've got our 15 volts output in into our 2 comp speeds that are there, and that will be doing the job. So this is a 3D, not 3D printed, everything's 3D printed now, laser cut box. I can't remember who makes this one. There might be a name on the back, so I can't really share it unless I find that, but I got it online. So I found this, it cost me £5, went to the Samaritans. It's reasonably sturdy. Got some drawers that I can put my TT bits in. Yeah, it should be perfect. So we'll pop that in. So that'll work out quite nicely. It's about the right height. So if I get a little chair, this will then be at the right height for me to not have to bend over too much or bend over at all. And then, yeah, so that's absolutely perfect for what we want to do. One of the negatives of having a flat surface in a hobby area, especially as a railway, cats like to go on them, so blanket has to go out when I'm not here, otherwise, yeah, you like to lay on a blanket. So, yeah, little monkey. But yeah, let's go do the next bit. So I'm going to use the soldering iron. I've actually used this one for ages, it's got like a load of dust on it. But what are we going to be soldering? So we have 2 bits of track. This is the one that will go to where the shunting layout is. And then this will be the one that goes to, well, just the main track. What am I going to solder on to? I've just got some speaker wire here. I'm sure there's much better things to use, but it's something that I've got to hand and it kind of takes care of itself. So this speaker wire, I've cut some lengths, got some bits flapping around. So it's got 2 bits of, you know, insulation, red and black, that are, you know, connected to each other. So all we're going to do is I pop my thumb and my finger in between and we can just pull it back and we can separate them. And that's what's going to drop through the board. That's the idea for me. How I go about doing this, I'm thinking I'll come down from one side and then it will tuck in, and so it'll be like that going through, and there'll be a hole in the board that the wire drops through. You could have one each side and then you pull through. That means I need to do the soldering on the board, and sometimes that's not convenient. It means I need to take the soldering iron in there and mess around on the board. As I'm getting older, it's all about comfort, so we're going to do it in a convenient way to, you know, what we're doing. I've got these wire strippers. I like these wire strippers. They're quite simple. I got these ages ago. There's loads of different ones out there, and various people say, oh, this one's the best. But basically, you've got little teeth. They come on here, and you pull back, and there you go. Your wire's exposed. That's our copper wire there. And we do our next one. So then once you do that, give it a little twist, because that kind of keeps the wires like their integrity together. Like they'll stay sturdy together, whereas when they're loose they can fan out and then you get some horrible solder joints. So I always like to twist it. And then we're going to do something called tinning, which is a joyful affair. But basically these wires are going to have solder put onto them. I normally have a little aid to help me, so I'll just grab that. It's a little vise one of my friends gave me, a little wire kit. It's really cute. So I'll just pop it in there, just gently. We don't want to crush the wires or anything like that. And what we'll do now, we've got to flip the soldering iron on. This is one of the fast heating ones. Obviously you don't want to go melting the wire. I don't know how the installation's going to behave. I got it ages ago and I haven't really used it. But I thought, well, let's have some fun. Let's use it in this project. So basically, you want to make sure, obviously, you've got some solder on the actual soldering iron. Okay, do this in a ventilated space. Make sure your tip's gone nice and shiny. So you can see here, it's nice and shiny. I'll just clean it off and it kind of, yeah, so we know it's going to work nicely. So I put a tiny bit on here. And then what you do is you've got to transfer the heat. So use a bit of solder to help transfer the heat onto the copper. And then you run it up. Leave it on there for a second or two. And obviously that will be that. It should be good. We'll see if this wire is any good. Might be terrible. And then we do the other one. Some wire you get, it's not very nice to solder for various reasons. Reasons that I don't actually know. But we'll find out if this is any good at soldering onto our track. One thing I didn't think about was obviously if we're going to have it running along, we need to have one a different length to the other. So what we're going to do is you've got to pick an order, either red to the front or black to the front. The classic is you put the black on the back side and then the red on the front side. It's up to you what you do. Just try and keep it consistent. What that means is when I have the other controller interacting with the other one, they're not fighting each other too much. So what I'll do is I'm going to trim back. See, you've got all of these plastic ribs. We want to trim back some of that. So we'll just do it in the middle. And we're just going to cut down here. Obviously, don't cut yourself. You should, because there's a little gap. So yeah, you can see there's a nice gap under here. For whatever reason, I don't know. But we'll be able to run our wire in there. So that would be that. So what we do is we'll hold this on here. We'll probably hold the track quite nicely. Act as a little heat sink. But we'll do it just down the road from it because we don't want to, we don't want to load it up whilst it's hot. So I don't know which way back is at the moment, but we can always flip it round if we need to. So that would be our red. So let's start with the black because that would then start here and the red sitting over the top. So red, if we just cut it to length, we're going to reduce how much will be going through. Got some old strippers there. So that'll be there. And then let's have a look at this one. So we want to cut it about here. So I'll get that out. I could use some normal side cutters, but that would be far too easy. Then we're going to strip it only a little bit. So we're going to bring this down. Don't need to do too much. In the background, I've got the Hornby magazine on with the TT bits. Let's have a little look. So there's Mike Wild doing his platform. Right. It's always good to have another YouTube channel on whilst you're, doing the things. It gives you a bit of inspiration. And yeah, I do like that. Right, so that's going there. And what we will do, we'll tin our track. Again, tinning. When you apply this on, because there's tin in this lead, there's tin in this solder, the idea, I guess, the reason they named it is because you were putting tin on something, and it's just evolved. So I'm trying not to melt the plastic because that is not really what we're aiming for. And we're going to get our black wire here and drop that down and see if that's taken. Again, trying not to melt the track, and then actually what I need to do is move it over a little bit so there's some room for the wire to come through. So that's that. And then we're going to drop this down on the other side. And that will go on there. See, my hand's covered all of that, so you haven't been able to see it. Basically, that's that. And And then we do a tug test. Does it come off when I pull it? It does. Does this one come off? It doesn't. So that means I need to try a bit harder. So I need to get a bit more fresh solder on because there's flux in that. And the beauty of the flux, come on. Again, it's not very fun soldering this wire. It's like it's not taking very much. I guess we'll find out if that works. If not, we'll have to change up our wire. I may have picked some bad wire here. Alright, let's have another go at that then. What we do is put some fresh solder on our soldering iron. Wipe off the old stuff. Some new stuff, so there's lots of fresh flux in there. And then we'll drop this over. See if that's worked. If it hasn't, we need to find some nicer solder. So we do our tug test. Oh. I don't like this wire. Let's get some other wire. I've got some other stuff up in the loft. We're melting our track slowly. Right, bear with me. So we have some normal single stranded wire, whatever you want to call it. It's got a number of cores inside, I don't know. But what this might now mean is that I solder each side and then I drill a hole each side on the layout and then it drops through. Now it's not like a joined one. So let's have another go at this. We'll test with the first one. Give it a little twisty twist. What it is, I poke it through the track so then I've got something to hold it whilst I'm showing you the soldering. See, these are normal problems, right? Or they may be just me problems. So solder on there, that's taken on very nicely, nice and shiny. And all we do is I'm gonna just put some fresh solder on here, pour track. I'm gonna see if you can have a look what was just tilt it. That might be nicer. And then come in here. And there we go. It's actually soldered on really nicely now. Okay, so I'm going to blame the wire. I'm not going to blame the tools, obviously. You know, well, was the wire the tools? So I'm going to then go out each side now. So I've had it in the past when I've tried soldering onto some wire and it's just like, yeah, rejecting me. So we'll just pop that through there to hold it. And then tinning again. The joys. But you're loving this. You're like, oh, come on, get on with the show. And then we solder it down onto the track. And now we do our tug test. Does it hold on? It does. And does this one? Yep, good. Try not to break it. So I'll do the other bit of track and we'll throw it onto the layout and drill some holes. So I've made a little mark because I've got my track here. Of course, on the drill there. And I've just made a little mark where they need to come out. It will be roughly about right. All this track can move. Once I'm settled and everything's running fine, we'll be good. So I just make a little hole. It's like 3 millimeters this one. So it's not huge, but a bit of room for movement. So what we'll have to do is give it a hoover at some point, or a vacuum clean. So we'll pop the black wire through and I'll show you how we're going to terminate the other side, but we'll do that first. Put our hand behind and put it through. There we go. And then we will do the other side, which is the red, and that drops in here. And then we put it home, and that's in there. So what we do now is we slide it back together. It's the beauty of these little fish plates, or track joiners as we like to call them. And that's that. So I'm going to do the same on the other side. So at the moment, we'll just rotate our camera around to here, where we have our fine logo. We're just going to run this back out the way at full speed, as it does. Yeah, I'm going to swap this out, drill some holes like before, and then we'll look at the termination on the other end, which is pretty cool. It means we'll almost be running. What I will do is I'm going to use these terminal blocks. You can find these all over eBay and various places sell these. Yeah, go check out your local model shops. They normally have these. Basically, it's got a sprung pin, and it slots into the other one, which is very handy. What I will say is I'm going to do the whole block of 6 going under, and I'll have channel 1 going in here and channel 2 going there. Channel 2, like I said, will be doing this track. Just make sure I wire it the same way, and if I do it wrong, then we can always swap around. Yeah, and then the beauty of this is it's kind of quick release. So it's like I want to take the controller away because I want to make some room. I unslot it. That stays on the layout. This will then be on the controller, and off we go. That's those together. So they're purely going to slot in. The yellow is my common, like my black here, and they'll slot in, and hopefully it works. So here's our logo. And lots of shadow. I need to get a light that shines from this side as well, because I've got that one, which is great. I just need to get a brighter one for there. Right, so this controller, what I do is you can see both at the same time. It's always been good on my normal logo, so we turn it up. There's like a bit going. It's just not the best runner. So, but it will get moving now. We're putting a load of current, I guess. And then we'll see if this one works okay. So I don't know which way goes what. So, don't know why that's not working. Bring it over onto the power track. So it should. Okay. It's not doing anything on that one. So I need to figure out what's going on there. But on the track that's powered here, nothing going on there. So I need to investigate that. And then we'll get running. But at least the other one's running. And it's got a controller that actually puts some power out. And can actually pull down to slowly. Just not the best runner. Maybe I've got a bad motor or something. Who knows? Right. I wiggled the wires and it seems to work, so... Oh, no. They're dirty. Okay, it goes forwards, but not backwards. What's going on? I don't know. Very odd. So we can go, so if we slide it back here, works fine that way, but when I flick the switch, so maybe there's something wrong with this inside, so I'll have a look. So I've had a fiddle, don't know what it was, but it now goes backwards. So we'll be able to do a little bit of shunting. Go around here, pick this one up. The couplings, I kind of prefer the normal couplings on the double O gauge when I've been messing around with these. Go the other way. Oh, doesn't really like it. Maybe my wheels are dirty. See, it doesn't even want to clip in, but fine. I might get some West Hill Wagon Works magnetic ones if they do them for TT. I don't know if they do. So we'll flick that, and then we can go backwards. That one should have connected up. It did. And then we'll see if we can pick up this last one. And there's the first shunting I've done. So, and then we come in here. Right. And then here we go off to do his journey. To give it to a bigger loco maybe. So what I'm wondering is, when I run both of these locos, is that when it doesn't work? No, it works. I'll chat with my dad, he knows all about this kind of stuff, but it's working now. So something's clearly sorted itself out. So, anyway, what do you think? Obviously it's a working layout. I had to borrow some track on here to do that bit. I need to buy some more. Could do a bit of flexi track. So I'll see what the shops have got. Maybe if I'm travelling towards Tony's, I'll go get some from him. But I just need one bit of track. Anyway, this has been a drawn out video, but now we have the beauty of, oh, wrong one, of playing with our locos. I'll have to learn a bit more about the disconnecting and connecting of these, because I'm not in love with it so far, but I'm sure we will be. But that is it. We now have a controller that works with it, and I can have some fun doing a little bit of shunting if I need to. So we can come over here, we can flick the point and go back. Anyway, what shunting have you been doing? Have you got any TT and found similar issues with the way it couples? Let me know in the comments below. I'm actually really interested on that one. Have you had an A4 that runs funny like this one? It runs quick, fine. You know, we don't need to do that, but you know, when we stop, get going. Yeah, I wonder if I can get a different motor for it. Maybe I'll contact HORNBY. I'll speak to Tony, he might know a bit more about it. Anyway, thank you for watching. Thanks to my patrons and channel members. If you haven't already subscribed and you like what you're watching and you don't want to miss any videos that are coming, subscribe. You might enjoy yourself. Anyway, see you soon. Bye bye.